You just heard the sound of a league in absolute chaos. For weeks, the story has been about the shocking comments, the player outrage, and the disrespect aimed at the WNBA's biggest star. But that story is already obsolete. Because today, we're not here to talk about the insult. We're here to talk about the consequences. Many of you watching have been connecting the dots, predicting that a move of this magnitude was inevitable, and you were right. This wasn't just a PR blunder, it was a fatal miscalculation. We're going to connect the leaked insider reports with the public player Revolt to show you exactly how Napheesa Collier's bombshell statement didn't just expose a private conversation, it ended a career. This is the story of how the WNBA is now being forced to fire its own commissioner to save itself from complete implosion. This is the kind of deep dive analysis we do here. We filter out the noise to give you the story behind the story. If you believe in that mission, do me a favor and smash that like button. It's a massive signal to us that we are on the right track. All right, let's get into the anatomy of this takedown. To understand why Cathy Engelbert is reportedly being shown the door, we have to revisit the lie that broke the league. On September 30th, Minnesota Lynx star and WNBPA Vice President Napheesa Collier sat down for her end-of-season interview and chose violence. She didn't just express frustration, she delivered a prepared surgical strike against the league's leadership. She revealed the details of a private conversation she had with Commissioner Engelbert about the league's new superstars, like Caitlin Clark. And according to Collier, Engelbert's response was a stunning display of disrespect. She alleged Engelbert said, quote, "Caitlin should be grateful she makes $60 million off the court, because without the platform the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything." As if that wasn't bad enough, Collier claimed Engelbert also said players should be, quote, "on their knees, thanking their lucky stars for the media rights deal that I got them." The arrogance is breathtaking. The idea that Caitlin Clark, a player who had massive NIL deals before she ever played a pro game and who is single-handedly responsible for sellout crowds and shattered viewership records, owes her success to the league, and not the other way around, is fundamentally absurd. The comments ignited a firestorm online, with fans and analysts alike calling out the sheer delusion of the statements. The backlash was so immediate and so severe that the league was forced to respond. But this is where the crisis deepened into a catastrophe. Instead of a direct denial, a clarification, or even an apology, the commissioner's office released a statement that only made things worse. Engelbert claimed that Napheesa Collier had, quote, "mischaracterized our conversations." She didn't say, "I never said that." She didn't say, those words were taken out of context. She used the classic non-denial denial, a piece of corporate PR speak that everyone in the world, from the players to the fans, immediately saw right through. For the narrative analysts watching, you know exactly what a statement like that means. When you're accused of saying something that damaging and your only defense is that your words were mischaracterized, you are essentially confirming you said something very close to what you're being accused of. You're not fighting the facts, you're fighting the interpretation. And that, right there, is the lie from the title of this video. It wasn't a lie of fabrication, it was a lie of omission. It was an attempt to hide behind vague language, to gaslight the players and the public into believing this was all just a big misunderstanding. But no one was buying it. That weak, calculated response wasn't a fire extinguisher, it was a gallon of gasoline thrown onto a raging fire. And the players were the first to light the match. Engelbert's non-denial was seen as a profound sign of disrespect, and it opened the floodgates. What began as one player's prepared statement quickly snowballed into a full-blown player revolt. The commissioner wasn't just being criticized by fans on X anymore, she was being openly condemned by the league's most important assets. The most damning statement came from within Caitlin Clark's own locker room. Indiana Fever guard Sophie Cunningham went public and absolutely torched the commissioner, posting a message that said it all. She is the most delusional leader our league has seen. Let that sink in. This wasn't a rival player taking a shot. This was Clark's own teammate, a player who sees the Caitlin Clark effect up close every single day, publicly declaring that the person in charge of the league is completely detached from reality. But the rebellion didn't stop there. One of the most powerful voices in the entire sport, Las Vegas Aces superstar A'ja Wilson, also weighed in, expressing her disgust at Engelbert's alleged comments and throwing her full support behind Napheesa Collier. When you have players of that caliber from different teams and different conferences, all singing from the same hymn sheet of outrage, you no longer have a disagreement. You have a mutiny. This was the moment the league lost control of the narrative, and likely, the moment they realized Engelbert's position was no longer tenable. She hadn't just insulted the league's biggest star, she had alienated the entire player base and unified them against her. What do you think when you see a reaction like this? Was this a coordinated player rebellion designed to force a change, or just a collection of individual frustrations boiling over at the same time? Let me know your theory in the comments. And while this firestorm of player outrage was burning down the league office, the person at the center of it all, Caitlin Clark, played her hand with the precision of a grandmaster. While her teammates and peers were bringing out the pitchforks, Clark executed a silent checkmate. When finally asked about the controversy, she didn't get angry. She didn't call the commissioner delusional. She took the high road, calmly stating that Napheesa Collier made a lot of very valid points. It was a simple yet powerful validation of Collier's entire statement. But then she delivered the killing blow, and she did it without raising her voice. When pressed further, Clark's camp simply confirmed that Commissioner Engelbert had not contacted her at all in the wake of the scandal. Let's be perfectly clear, this was a masterclass in modern media warfare. Clark didn't have to attack the commissioner. She just had to reveal her negligence. By confirming the commissioner of the league didn't even bother to pick up the phone and speak to the very player she had allegedly insulted, the player who is the league's golden goose, she exposed a complete and total failure of leadership. She let her allies, like Sophie Cunningham and A'ja Wilson, handle the public executions. All she had to do was step back and let the commissioner's silence and inaction speak for itself. It was a devastatingly effective strategy. She proved that the most powerful person in the room doesn't have to be the loudest. And that quiet confirmation was likely the final signal to the league's owners that their commissioner had lost the confidence of their most important player. So, you have a public relations disaster, a league-wide player revolt, and a quiet confirmation of negligence from your biggest superstar. What happens next? This is where we move from the public stage to the backroom conversations. Okay, for all the narrative analysts, this is where we have to filter out the noise and look at what the insiders are reporting, because the fallout from this scandal is happening faster than anyone imagined. According to multiple credible reports from major sports business outlets, league insiders now fully expect Cathy Engelbert to be forced out as commissioner. Let me be clear, this is no longer just angry fans on social media calling for a resignation. This is the consensus building among people with knowledge of the league's inner workings. The decision has reportedly been made that her leadership is a liability the WNBA can no longer afford. Her position has become untenable. You cannot effectively lead a league when your players are openly calling you delusional. You cannot negotiate in good faith when you've been publicly accused of telling those same players to get on their knees and be thankful. She didn't just create a news cycle of bad press, she fundamentally broke the trust between the players and the league office. The public exposure of her comments, combined with the catastrophic failure of her response, has backed the league's owners into a corner. They are now faced with a simple choice: keep a commissioner who has lost all credibility, or make a change to save the future of their league. And according to the reports, they have chosen to save the league. But this isn't just about managing a public relations crisis. To truly understand the speed and severity of this downfall, you have to follow the money and look at the calendar. The timing of this scandal could not have been worse for the league, and it's the primary reason they are being forced to act so decisively. The WNBA is currently in the middle of the most important negotiation in its history, the new Collective Bargaining Agreement, or CBA. The current deal expires on October 31st. And with the league's revenue exploding thanks to the Clark effect, the players are coming to the table expecting a massive piece of the pie. They want better pay, improved travel, and a real share of the profits they are generating. Now ask yourself this: how can the league owners possibly send Cathy Engelbert into that negotiation room? The players, led by the Players Association Vice President Napheesa Collier, have already made it clear they believe she is the worst leadership in the world. They have publicly accused her of being dishonest and disrespectful. There is zero trust. Any negotiation led by Engelbert would be dead on arrival. It would almost certainly lead to a player strike or a lockout, which would be a catastrophic, self-inflicted wound for a league that is finally hitting the mainstream. Firing the commissioner isn't just a punishment for her comments, it's a strategic necessity. It's a desperate, last-ditch effort to reset the board before the CBA deadline. The owners have to show the players they are serious about change. By removing Engelbert, they are sacrificing their queen to save the kingdom, hoping that a new leader can walk into that room and salvage the relationship that she so thoroughly destroyed. Do you think this move is enough? Can the WNBA save the CBA negotiations by firing the commissioner, or is the damage to the relationship with the players already done? Tell me what you think below. So, when we filter out all the noise and connect all the dots, the narrative becomes undeniable. Cathy Engelbert is being forced out, not just for one comment, but for a fundamental misunderstanding of the new era her league has entered. She failed to realize that the power dynamic in the WNBA has permanently shifted. The players, empowered by the unprecedented attention and revenue brought in by stars like Caitlin Clark, are no longer willing to be told they should be grateful. Napheesa Collier's statement wasn't just an accusation, it was a declaration of independence. It triggered a revolt that exposed the commissioner's broken relationship with her players. And in the high-stakes environment of a looming CBA negotiation, it made her a liability the league could not afford. Her ousting is the ultimate proof that the Caitlin Clark effect isn't just about ticket sales, it's about who holds the real power. So, what's your take on all this? Let us know your final verdict in the comments. Was firing Cathy Engelbert the right move to save the league's future, or was it a panic move that proves the owners have lost control? We want to hear your theory. This story is far from over. A new commissioner will have to be chosen, and the battle for the CBA is just beginning. Make sure you are subscribed with notifications on so you don't miss the next chapter in this power struggle. And finally, if you know a fan who only saw the headlines, share this video with them. Every narrative analyst deserves to be in on the real conversation.